you'll witness some of the most striking moments in history where the darkness of war was lit by rays of hope. From Moscow's illuminated nights to the deep scars left by the struggle for survival, we'll take you back to the cold face of war and the dramatic celebrations of victory. But what untold stories are hidden behind these powerful images? Get ready to uncover the mysteries waiting to be revealed. Captured during the Battle of the Bulge in Belgium, this German saboteur attempted to infiltrate enemy lines while disguised in a US Army uniform. This photo captures his final moments before execution, reflecting the brutal realities of wartime espionage. Deception, one of war's harshest tactics, is immortalized in this image. Heinrich Himmler, chief of the SS in Nazi Germany, is seen inspecting a camp holding Soviet prisoners of war. This image captures the dark realities of wartime, reflecting the harsh conditions faced by the prisoners. In 1942, a Chinese worker in the United States wears a sign that reads, "Me Chinese, please no Jap," to avoid being mistaken for a Japanese American, as anti-Japanese sentiment escalated during World War II. This powerful image highlights the fear and suspicion that ran rampant in wartime America. In 1945, near the end of World War II, German soldiers in East Prussia are seen surrendering to the Red Army. In the cold winter setting, these worn-out soldiers raise their hands in a gesture of defeat, confronting the harsh reality of war's end. On February 19, 1945, US Marines are seen advancing under intense enemy fire towards Suribachi Yama during the Battle of Iwo Jima. This image captures the brutal combat and the struggle for survival on Red Beach 1 as the troops disappear into the smoke, a powerful portrayal of one of the bloodiest battles of World War II. This 1943 photo captures Canadian infantry cautiously advancing through a narrow street in the Italian town of Campochiaro. Navigating rubble and debris, they move forward, despite the ever-present danger. The image is a powerful reminder of the perilous urban combat during World War II. In this historical image, a US paratrooper, armed with an M1 Garand rifle and bayonet, captures a German soldier during the 1944 Normandy invasion. The photograph captures the tense reality of combat and the moments of victory amidst the chaos of war. In this photo from the 1945 Battle of Berlin, Red Army soldiers enter the Frankfurter Alley subway station as they advance toward the Reichstag. The underground tunnels of Berlin witnessed intense fighting as the city defenses collapsed, capturing the tense final moments of the war in Europe. This haunting image captures the fear-laden atmosphere of the 1930s. Taken in Eastwood Park, England, the photo shows students preparing to enter their classrooms wearing gas masks, a precaution against chemical attacks. It reflects the constant threat that war posed to everyday life during this period. This 1943 photo shows prisoners lined up before Nazi officers at the Buchenwald concentration camp. The camp was a site of immense suffering, with people subjected to systematic cruelty. The image serves as a grim reminder of the inhumanity of war and its impact on millions. This photograph shows a large pile of rifles surrendered during World War II. Hundreds of weapons symbolize the end of conflict and efforts to disarm in the aftermath. As humanity moves beyond the devastation of war, these weapons are collected to ensure they will never be used again. This image captures the execution of a soldier accused of spying for the Soviet Union, set in a snowy forest. One of the most striking moments of Cold War espionage, The stillness of the scene contrasts with the tension of the moment before the shot is fired. Crew members of the USS Intrepid conduct a burial at sea for their fallen comrades during World War II. This poignant moment highlights the somber reality of war, as sailors bid farewell to those lost in battle amid the vast ocean. Taken in the closing months of World War II in Frankfurt, Germany, this image captures the exhaustion and despair of a defeated soldier. He leans wearily against a wall, his posture reflecting the immense toll the war has taken on him. This photo, taken off the coast of New Guinea in 1943, captures an American marksman on a PT boat as he aims his .50 caliber machine gun. The image, focused on the intensity of the war at sea, freezes a moment where the gunner is locked on the enemy line, showcasing the tension of wartime naval engagements. After the devastating Battle of Kursk in 1943, a German soldier sits in despair, his head buried in his hands. The Battle of Kursk was one of the largest tank battles in history and marked a significant defeat for Nazi Germany on the Eastern Front. This image captures the emotional toll of war on soldiers, highlighting the human cost of conflict. This photo depicts prisoners in a Nazi concentration camp, wearing striped uniforms marked with symbols of their imprisonment. Under the brutal Nazi regime, millions faced unimaginable suffering and death in these camps. This haunting image serves as a stark reminder of one of the darkest chapters in human history. This powerful image captures medics tending to a wounded soldier during the Normandy invasion, also known as D-Day. In the chaos of battle, these medics worked tirelessly to save lives. The scene portrays both the violence of war and the compassion of those trying to mitigate its toll on human life. This image shows the damage inflicted on an American battleship during the Pearl Harbor attack. The visible scars on the hull are a reminder of the destruction caused by torpedoes and bombs. The attack was a pivotal moment in World War II, drawing the United States into the conflict. In the midst of a heavy snowstorm, a soldier shakes hands with his loyal canine companion. Even during the harshest times of World War II, the bond between humans and animals provided comfort. Moments like these reveal a glimpse of humanity in the face of war. This 1944 image captures massive German tanks being transported on a railway. By the war's end, heavy tanks played a critical role, both on the battlefield and in logistics. These colossal machines symbolized power and dominance in the war. This 1943 image shows a Soviet sniper fully camouflaged on the battlefield. Snipers used such attire to infiltrate enemy lines and neutralize strategic targets. These marksmen were among the unsung heroes, carrying out critical missions during the war. This 1941 photograph shows German panzer divisions preparing for a large-scale assault. Tanks were critical components of the Blitzkrieg strategy, causing widespread destruction on the battlefield. These operations relied heavily on speed and surprise. This dramatic image shows a damaged fighter jet attempting to land on an aircraft carrier in the Pacific Front. The plane's engine has caught fire, and the crew rushes to extinguish it. Mechanical failures during flights were common hazards faced in the Pacific War. This young boy stands amidst the ruins of his home in Berlin after the bombings. As World War II drew to a close, cities were reduced to rubble, and civilians, especially children, became the most innocent victims of the war's devastation. This image shows soldiers being transported under harsh conditions in the Pacific Front. The grueling conditions of war were filled with scenes like this, where prisoners faced long marches and heavy burdens as they struggled to survive the horrors of battle. This photo captures the moment just before a Japanese kamikaze pilot crashes into an American aircraft carrier. During the Pacific War in 1944, kamikaze attacks symbolized the desperation of the Japanese Empire. The imminent explosion is captured in all its impending terror. This photograph captures the moment just before the execution of a man who spied for Nazi Germany during World War II. A masked executioner stands beside the prisoner, reflecting the grim reality of war in 1945 as the war neared its end. This photograph captures the intense moment a Japanese kamikaze plane, engulfed in flames, crashes into a U.S. aircraft carrier during World War II. Kamikaze pilots carried out deadly crashes into ships in a desperate attempt to turn the tide of the war. The scene reflects the ferocity of the conflict. This photograph, taken in 1945, shows a concentration camp survivor confronting one of the Nazi guards. As the war ends, the prisoner points at the guard, perhaps demanding accountability for the atrocities endured. The tension captured in this moment reflects the anger and reckoning that followed the end of the war. This photograph captures a survivor walking through the ruins of Nagasaki after the atomic bomb was dropped in 1945. The destroyed trees and flattened structures reflect the magnitude of destruction. For the survivors, this image is a silent witness to the loss and suffering endured in the aftermath of the bombing. This image depicts a mass execution by the sea during the early 1940s. Prisoners are lined up along the shore and shot by soldiers. This tragic moment symbolizes the brutal face of war and how human lives were ended with ease. The distant and blurred capture adds to the haunting atmosphere of the scene. This photograph captures Japanese soldiers hiding amidst the ruins in the final stages of World War II. Taking defensive positions within the shattered buildings and rocks, these soldiers show the determined resistance even as the war neared its end. The destruction surrounding them is a stark reminder of the devastation brought by the conflict. This emotional image, taken during the London Blitz, captures a mother protecting her child. As German air raids continued over London during World War II, scenes like this were a common occurrence as citizens sought shelter or simply tried to survive in the streets. The photograph reflects the terror and fear experienced not only on the battlefield, but by the innocent civilians at home. This touching photograph shows an Italian woman expressing her deep gratitude to an American soldier by kissing his hand after the liberation of their town during World War II. Surrounding townspeople share in the joy, relieved by the end of Nazi occupation. The image beautifully captures the human side of war and the overwhelming emotion of liberation. This photograph from 1939 depicts children receiving gas mask training as the world edged closer to war. A nurse assists a young girl in putting on her mask, while her concerned parents and sibling look on. The looming threat of air raids and chemical warfare during World War II made such precautions a grim necessity. This image captures how the war shaped not just the battlefield, but everyday civilian life as well. Taken in 1945 in Frankfurt, this photo captures a defeated soldier embodying the devastating aftermath of war. With his head resting in his hands, he conveys a deep sense of helplessness and the overwhelming weight of defeat. The small suitcase beside him may be all that remains of his former life. This image poignantly illustrates that the scars of war are not only physical, but also deeply emotional, leaving lasting marks on the individuals who endured it. This striking image from 1944 captures one of the most pivotal moments in World War II, a massive airborne operation. Thousands of paratroopers descend from the skies, aiming to change the tide of war. The sheer number of parachutes filling the sky showcases the magnitude of the battle and the gravity of these daring operations. Each parachute represents a life dropped into the uncertainty of war, creating a powerful symbol of courage and sacrifice. This image captures the aftermath of the Kristallnacht pogrom in Germany, 1938, where Jewish-owned properties were violently attacked. The shattered windows of this storefront stand as a stark reminder of the Nazi regime's brutal campaign against the Jewish community. The broken glass symbolizes the destruction and terror that swept through the streets during this horrific event. The passerby walking by reflects the unsettling reality that life continued amidst such devastation. This photograph captures a group of people who survived the Nazi concentration camps in the first moments of their liberation at the end of the war. The mixed emotions on their faces, bewilderment, joy, and lingering tension, reflect a historical turning point. Still wearing their concentration camp uniforms, these individuals stand together with a sense of hope, finally freed from the darkness of war and captivity. This photograph depicts a moment of despair for a captured Japanese soldier following Japan's surrender in 1945. As the soldier wipes his tears, the deep emotional impact of facing the harsh reality of defeat is evident. The weight of the war's hardships and the loss of honor are palpably captured in this single frame. Captured moments after the attack on Pearl Harbor, this image shows a family hurriedly walking away from their neighborhood, with smoke billowing in the background. The family, stunned and concerned, attempts to flee the devastation, carrying their belongings and pet. This poignant image starkly portrays the immediate and disruptive impact of war on civilian lives. This historical photograph captures a poignant moment during the liberation of Paris. The man, with an expression full of mixed emotions, is overwhelmed with tears. When Paris was freed from Nazi occupation on August 25, 1944, many in the city could not hold back their tears of joy and relief. The man's tears symbolize the release of years of suffering and the overwhelming sense of freedom. This striking photograph depicts the nighttime victory celebrations in Moscow's Red Square. Held toward the end of World War II, following the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany, this display symbolizes Moscow's resilient and powerful spirit. The towering spotlights illuminate the city's darkness, celebrating the Soviet triumph in the war. This photograph captures the signing of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union on August 23, 1939. The agreement was a non-aggression pact between the two nations and played a pivotal role in the lead-up to World War II. Soviet Foreign Minister Vyacheslav Molotov and German Foreign Minister Joachim von Ribbentrop signed the pact, which shifted the balance of power in Europe and paved the way for the invasion of Poland.